Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm going to be playing some Super Mario Brothers. Well, Super Mario, I think it's just called Super Mario Brothers 64 for the Commodore 64. It's a weird name because I always think of Super Mario Brothers 64 as being something that was on the Nintendo 64. So it's kind of weird to kind of say that. But yeah, I guess because it's actually on the Nintendo 64, it's Super Mario 64. Whereas this is Super Mario Brothers 64. Whatever. The point is that this is on the Commodore 64. And I learned about this from the immortal John Hancock. He did a video on this, I think last week. And I was excited to see this because before this game, you only had, I think, the Great Guiana Sisters, or however it's pronounced, that existed for the Commodore 64 that was anything like a Mario Brothers game. You just didn't have it. I mean, you wouldn't even think that they could even pull it off. And from what I learned from watching John Hancock's video, was that this game took 7 years to actually make, which is insane. I mean, think about the 7 years of dedication to make this game. And I remember when I tried to find the ROM for it, I was starting to see everywhere that they were actually like the ROMs were being pulled off. I guess whatever sites were offering it, and a lot of speculation that Nintendo was jumping in there and pulling it down, which I wouldn't put it past them because they are very strong on their holding onto their IPs. So I can kind of see that, but I don't know, whatever. Let's play the game anyways. I'm going to restart it because, might as well start from the very beginning. See if I can get this to work. Take it off pause. There we go. So hopefully my stream holds out while I do this. Okay. Start game. Play recommended. No turbo available. I don't know what most of that stuff means, but I'm just going to start. Now, I love that. I love seeing a loading screen up. Commodore 64 was, my first experience of having a loading screen, and they were never that cool to actually see something like that. So I really enjoyed seeing that. All right, here we are, Super Mario Brothers. And from what I understand, and from what John Hancock said, that this is a straight-on port of the game. So it's not like its own game. So they didn't change it up or anything like that. They literally tried to port it exactly how you would have played it. Unlike, say, Princess Rescue on the Atari 2600, for instance. So let's see, we got OMJ James Gaming in the chat there. And we have Adam Henry. What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming into the chat. Let's see how I can struggle through this game. Now, I can play Super Mario Brothers very well on the Nintendo, like a lot of us who grew up in that era and had a Nintendo. And, Super Mario Brothers came with it. Articulated Toy Dan, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming in. So this is really weird for me to be playing this, first of all, the graphics being different, slightly different. Anyways, they're very close. I mean, you almost wouldn't even notice that it's not Nintendo. Like, it looks very similar, and that's exactly what John Hancock said in his video. He was surprised on how, close it resembled, but there were those slight differences. And so, I mean, the main difference is, and if you know much about the Commodore 64, is much like the Atari 2600, the joysticks. Oh, there's the one up. The joystick only had one button, unlike say the Nintendo, which had two buttons. So you got one less button here. So what they did was they made the jump, the up on the joypad or the gamepad or whatever you're playing on. It's up, but the fireballs and the running is the main fire button. So it is a little bit weird to know that, you know, when I'm running, I don't just simply push the button to jump. I have to remember to push up to jump. So it's almost like retraining my brain to say, you know, now I'm playing... Well, there's a bit of a lag there. Kind of like a real Nintendo. You know, you're retraining yourself to say, you know, I can't just simply play the game the way I would normally on a Nintendo. You have to remember that this is not the Nintendo port. You know, maybe I'm not too bad at it because I've been trying to play the Princess Rescue game on the Atari, and I kind of started getting used to the fact that the jump button is different, but I'm not used to just this one button feel to it. First video game I ever played. I'm assuming you mean the original Super Mario Brothers on the Nintendo, which is a brilliant game. I can't get myself into running like this. Because I'm thinking I run with another button, but that's just not the case because it's not programmed that way, I don't think. Because you're not going to be able to jump with the other button, which is what I would be used to. So I guess I just gotta hold down the button and remember that I'm constantly running now. I definitely am not going to be able to run through this game like I would if I was actually playing on a Nintendo. Because I have to kind of slow down and be like, okay, I can't play it the way I would expect to play it. And that's the kind of thing that I would, you know, when I play Nintendo, even on an emulator like this, I prefer to play it with a gamepad that is similar, well, this guy. I prefer to play it with this guy because it feels and plays like a real Nintendo controller. And I get really weirded out when I try playing Nintendo without an actual Nintendo controller. I'm so used to it. Yeah, I think I'm falling behind here because I need to like speed up. Now this is the control for jumping and oh, it's so weird. Okay, I know there's a free man here, so I'm gonna break up the blocks there so I can. So far everything is where it should be, and it is impressive. Yeah, James is saying, to be honest, it's really impressive port. Yeah, I mean, I would have killed for this when I was a kid. I'm not going to take the warp zone. I'm going to check out, I'm going to do kind of what John Hancock did when he did his video on this, where he didn't take the warp zone. Maybe I'll see if I can get to 4. And if I can get to 4, then I'll warp to 8. Maybe I'll try that. I don't know. It's still weird to me. Like, I don't have the confidence that I could just run through this like I would normally, right? Like, I feel almost like I'm playing a different game. Or a new game. Like, it's my first experience playing Super Mario Brothers. Because that lack of confidence is there. Like, like, for instance, what was that? I just jumped into the pit. I wouldn't normally do that. So, whoa. Yeah, oh jeez. Okay, this level's gonna be a challenge. This is gonna be a challenge. I'm hesitant to want to hold down the run button, but I know for a fact that making a lot of these jumps is like next to impossible without running, so it's almost like you have to. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we made it to the first castle now. Whew. Okay, and let me get this out of the way. I'm probably going to get this video flagged or claimed or something like that. I'm expecting that to happen. And I might be shocked if it doesn't. Whoa, jeez. I like the lava look of it, though. It looks kind of cool. I'll be shocked if I don't get flagged for this, because, you know, I'm pretty sure Nintendo's been hunting this game down to try and get it pulled. and it's a shame because I like the amount of work that went into getting this video game, or this game I should say, up and available. Like 7 years is insanity. Okay, now I don't know if I have the start and stuff like that. Also, geez, I gotta start at the beginning again. Guess I'm stuck there. I don't know if there's the start and select button that I have on this controller. And because this is not the Nintendo port, I don't know if those options are even available, so... I mean, it could just be a one-shot, whoa, deal. Crazy. The other thing I'm surprised at is the music. The music sounds almost dead on. Hey, Grumpy Driver. How's it going? This is, yeah, I'm trying to do a run-through of this game. Well, attempting to do a run-through of this game as best as I can. I mean, I didn't actually play it. Where's the one-up? Why isn't it there? Huh? It's gone. Go! Like I downloaded, I got lucky and I found a download for this because I've heard that it's disappearing, that people are pulling it, whether it's Nintendo doing it or not, I don't know. Or maybe there's a fear. Or maybe it's not being pulled and people are just saying it and it's still widely available. But I found this off of John Hancock's link, the immortal John Hancock. If you go to his video on this game, he put a link in his description, and I was able to find it. But it's weird. It's totally weird that I have to push up the jump, and it's I'm not catching on with it. I feel weird. I mean, everything else is impressive. Like it's amazing that this actually can exist on a Commodore 64. Like you can actually load this game onto a disc if you have the tools to do so and play it on a physical Commodore 64, which is quite impressive. Like the great Gianna sisters, or Gianna, however you pronounce it, that game is not even close to this game, even though it was the closest that we always had to a Super Mario Brothers game on the Commodore 64, and I'm sure a bunch of other systems too, like the Amiga and I don't know, I think it may have even been on the Atari ST or one of the Atari computers. I actually never heard of the game when I owned my Commodore 64. I don't even know when it came out. But it was the closest we had to a Super Mario Brothers clone. Ah, jeez. Getting nowhere. Well, I'm not going to go on with one man. That's no point. I'll just run into a Goomba. Okay. Let's try this again. Who knows, maybe I'll cave and just take the warp zone. But I'm happy to see that it's like a direct port. I mean, they could have made their own game out of it. They could have changed it. They could have modified, hidden everything, you know, made their own version of it. But the fact that it, you know, this is something that we all would have wanted back then. I think I'll get the free man instead. I need men. I don't think I'll be able to go... Nope. Blockbuster, Plot Master. What's going on? I am trying to play... I'm getting confused because of the buttons, but... I mean, I think I'm doing okay. It's weird, having that feeling like I've never played this before. I mean, it's just strange because normally, you know, Super Mario Brothers, I would fly through this first level like nothing. But trying to remember that you cannot push a button to jump is... But it's not only that, it's also the fact that you have to jump and push in the direction at the same time. Maybe it's my gamepad is not the greatest. I don't know. Yeah, NES music on the Commodore 64. Well, out of all of the original systems and computers and stuff, I think Commodore 64 had one of the best. The SID chip, or whatever they called it, the sound chip. So it's not that impressive that they could actually mimic the song. Because there were a lot of other systems back in the day that had really terrible sound chips and could not mimic the sound. Like the Atari 7800 could have never pulled this off. I don't think it could have anyways. I mean, they did have a pokey chip that they installed in certain cartridges that gave the game an extra sound boost or whatever, but other than that, I think the Commodore 64 was one of the better as far as being able to give you a really good sound. And most people will say that with the Commodore 64 games. I was going to say Intellivision, but that was also a good sound chip too. A lot of people did say that the Commodore 64 did kill it when it came to music. I mean, just listen to the soundtrack to something like Commando on the Commodore 64. Okay, let's see. Oh no. Okay. There's lag here. The game is giving lag, like the processor can't keep up. Articulated toy den. How do you shoot fireballs? The fireballs are with the fire button. So there is one button. There's one button in this game. Just like, imagine I'm playing on a classic Atari joystick. So I got one button. Let's take this damn warp zone. See if I can do it. There's one button, and that button is your fire button and your run button. To jump, you push up. I don't know if I prefer that. I guess they would have had to. To try and make the up a run button would be really confusing. So, and I think it's the same controls for Princess Rescue on the Atari 2600. I think that's exactly how they did it too. I think there's supposed to be... No, oh, crap. Finding there is quite a bit of lag, though. Like, it's struggling to keep up with the processing. I don't blame it. I mean, the Commodore 64 wasn't used to having games of like this complexity to it. Ah! Yeah, I can feel the game is struggling to... Okay, I'm going to try and run. Greg is saying, Princess Rescue pulls off the Mario theme pretty well. Yeah, I mean, I was impressed when I saw that. Honestly, they could have gone more original with the sound. Well, I think what they were trying to do was give you the exact experience. Oh, jeez. They were trying to give you the exact experience on the Commodore 64. And you know, whenever any system tried to port a game, that was kind of their goal, was to try and give you the exact same experience. Although a lot of systems couldn't handle certain games or certain sounds, so they kind of got stuck with inferior sound chips or inferior sound effects, and jeez. Okay, I'm screwed. So, oh. I'm getting the hang of it slowly. I mean, I'm still, you know, I think even just having the hang of it, it's still difficult to be able to push up and push right when you need to jump. Like, it's harder because it's a different feel. Like, you can't, I don't know how to explain. Like, when you play on a Nintendo, you can use your other hand to hold down the run button and then jump, and then just worry about your controlling of your character on the other thumb. So this is crazy. Wasn't sure if I'd have this much problems. I'm like, am I gonna be like good at it, or am I gonna just like really royally stink at this? I'd say I'm doing okay. I'm sure if back in the day, if I had this when I played on my Commodore 64 all the time, I would have really gotten used to it, been able to master it. The port of Capcom's Ghosts and Goblins on the C64, they changed all the sounds instead of remixing the iconic Ghosts and Goblins. Oh yeah, you know, I used to play that a lot. Actually, I've been considering that game, like playing it. I don't know if I want to play it now or hold out. It's kind of a fun game to play around Halloween time. You know, that's usually around the Halloween time is when I like to play things like Castlevania and Ghosts and Goblins and all the, you know, all that stuff. I try to hold out, you know, it's just fun to play that during the October months. But I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind and all. Because I used to play the Ghosts and Goblins a lot on the Commodore 64. I got pretty far in it at one point. It's a hard game, and I think on every system it exists on, whether it's Ghosts and Goblins, Ghosts and Ghouls, Ghouls and Ghosts, whatever, however they would label it. I think it's always a hard game for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, I used to play it a lot. I had a lot of fun with that game. Probably get the ROM for it. I know I have the I still have mine on disc on my Commodore 64. So if anything, I can play it on my real C64. I just wouldn't be able to live stream it because I don't have that capability right now to connect it and live stream through an actual console. That's okay. If I can find a ROM, I'll play the ROM. I don't care. Said this before, ROMs, original hardware, whatever, it's all good. Nostalgic for the 70s and 80s. Great, some more C64 games. Yeah, kinda. I mean, this is a really late edition. I mean, this literally just got dropped on us. Been in the works for 7 years. I didn't think I was going to get a chance to play this because when I watched John Hancock's video on it, and by the time I got around to trying to download the game, the first link he had up there, they said they had to pull the game. And then I looked on the second link and it said that it was being contested or something like that, or it was being looked at as copyright infringement. And I emailed John Hancock and I said, is there any way I can get the game off you? Unfortunately, he was dealing with a back injury and he was kind of out of commission, so he said, try the second link, it should work. And so I did, and it worked. I thought I lost my chance on this game because, you know, Nintendo likes to pull stuff like this off the, well, at least try anyways, try and pull it. I don't think they'd be very successful at it. That's why I say I won't be surprised if I get a copyright claim on my video saying that my video contains copyright. You know, the music is so dead on to the original Super Mario Brothers that if it's copyrighted and stuff like that, they can put a claim on it and whatever. I mean, it's not going to stop me from keeping the video up there. It's not really going to do anything, but I just won't be surprised if I see it. I'll be kind of expecting it. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to pull off level 8. Like, I'm having a hard time on level 4. And the jumping is, like, killing me. Blockbuster Plotmaster. And I wonder why the game recommends the PAL 50Hz music instead of the iconic NTSC. That's a good question. I don't know what the answer is, though. That's getting above me. I don't really know too much about the PAL format. I play this on my Ultimate 64 PAL. Yeah, I think when John Hancock played this, he was playing it on his C64 Mini, and I don't know which ROM he was using, or... See, I can't even get through this. If I can't get through this, level 8 is going to be next to impossible. And I just know there's certain areas in level 8 where you gotta be, like, dead on with the jumping. Oh! See, I even have a hard time jumping up. PAL version is a bit faster. Well, okay, that might make sense. There might be something to it, you know, that, like you said, like the 60 hertz versus the 50 hertz or whatever. Probably, probably what's going on there. I don't know if I'll be able to... Oh, crap. Am I going to be able to jump and duck at the same time? How's that... Okay, how am I going to jump and duck at the same time? Is that even possible where your jump button is the up? How can you push up and down at the same time? I don't think it's possible. Crud. Yeah, okay, so that's one downside there. I don't know if that can be accomplished in this game. So, you know, in a Nintendo, you can actually, like, kind of jump while you're ducked. But in this game, you can't do it because you push down to duck, but then to jump, you have to push up. So, ain't gonna happen. Bugsy is saying it recommends 60 Hz on an NTSC system. Huh. Well, it could be explaining my lag. You know, this is a ROM. I'm playing it on a computer. Whoa, I just killed myself. Am I dead? Yesterday I got my first retro game in complete in box. That's cool. Which one was it? Okay, maybe I should just stick with forgetting the warp zone and trying to get to the castle again. Because I did make it there, so... Let's just get to Bowser's cat, or, well, not Bowser himself, but, you know, the fake one. Never did understand why there's a Bowser in every castle. I think, well, if you shoot the Bowser guy, he turns into a mushroom guy. So it's supposed to imply that it's not really him. It's like an imposter Bowser. Toy Story for the Sega Genesis. Oh, I can't say I've ever played that. My Genesis collection was never that big. I mean, I had a pretty sweet collection of games I liked, which I've slowly tried to regain again, but my Genesis collection was never that big. I think at the time when the Genesis was really on the shelf and the SNES, I was still really playing my original Nintendo at the time, and what else was I playing? My Atari 2600. I was probably still playing that a lot, so I didn't really get too far into the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. I mean, I ended up getting a Genesis when it came out as a cheaper version of it, and I got about, I think I had maybe about 6 games, well, maybe less. remember I had like Kid Chameleon, um, Sonic the Hedgehog, Crew Ball, Tasmania. Those are the ones I can remember. Maybe that was it. On the Commodore 128 and 64 mode, it uses 2 megahertz border trick, and there's less slowdown. Oh! That's something I need to look into. To run the game with the Super CPU card, there's no slowdown at all. How would that work with an emulator? I mean, right now this is emulating a Commodore 64, I'm assuming NTSC. I need to get a repro of my Genesis game Mega Man the Wily Wars? Not familiar with that. I didn't know there was a Mega Man game on the Genesis. I always looked at Mega Man as being more of a Nintendo product. Well, it's, what is it, Capcom, right? Let's see if I can get through this. I had it the first time I tried this. Hey, it's Grim Monolith! Mortal Kombat 11 for life. I haven't actually really looked into that game. I think I saw like one video, and it was 8-bit Eric talking about it. But I haven't really looked into it. I mean, my knowledge of Mortal Kombat doesn't go beyond Mortal Kombat 2. I have Mortal Kombat 3 on the Genesis, but I was not good at it, for whatever reason. Whoa. What's D&D 51710001 saying? It may be possible to map up on the controller to a button on the keyboard. I was wondering that too, but the fact that I'm using an emulator, I was wondering if like there is a way to map the up button being the jump to map it to a button on your control pad. Whoa! But then again, you know, you're taking away the experience of playing this as the way it would have been played on a Commodore 64. At this point, you know, if I was able to map the buttons properly, I might as well just play the Nintendo version. So that's kind of fun, just having this different experience. My computer's being really laggy. I hope I'm not missing anything. Oh, am I lagging? Okay, let's find out if I'm lagging. It's very possible. Okay, let's try this again, see if we have something. Okay, we got the Atari creep in there. Okay, how is it looking now? Is it, did it work itself out? Okay, let's see if I'm back to streaming again. Sorry about that, guys. I had to, like, literally reboot my computer. And hopefully that's going to fix the problem. Alright, let's see who's still in the chat or who's still stuck around after I had to goof around with my computer. And hopefully the stream will stick with me. Okay, so we still look... Oh, we got Muggsy still there, I think. If you're using WinVice, enable the CPU option. Okay. How fast is your internet? Might be your connection, not your computer. Possibly. I mean, I don't have any other issues with internet, which is weird. I mean, unless it just can't handle the upload. I think you're back and running. Are you on Wi-Fi? Unfortunately, I am on Wi-Fi. I hate being on Wi-Fi. But where my office is located, I don't have cable set up. So my cable modem is in a completely different room. Which means I cannot, unless I had a really freaking long wire. It's just the way my house was wired. They didn't put cable into the other bedrooms. They only put it into the master bedroom. I'm like, well, I don't have a TV in there, so what do I need that? And I'm using a cable modem, so fortunately I can't run right off the wireless. So hopefully everything is back and running. Let me just check my connection, because I want to play a little bit more of this game, just to show it off. Oh look, I already got a thumbs down. I'm sure somebody was like, this sucks. Your internet sucks. You suck. Thumbs down. Yeah, I don't care. But what I do care is that people can actually watch my stream. Okay. Yeah, I totally would plug into the modem if I could, but fortunately, it's not in the cards for me right now. You know, I changed my setup around. I've really been considering, you know, maybe moving my computer into my man cave or doing something along those lines. Because I do have the cable down there in my dark, dank little man cave. Whereas when I do my streaming, I have to do it upstairs in my office where I don't have the internet connection very well. I'm running off of Wi-Fi and... Oh, whatever. First world problems, right? Jeez. Reboot the modem. It sometimes works too. But it's weird because I never have any I never have any problems any other times. Like when I'm watching movies on Netflix and stuff, I don't really have issues. So I don't know if there's a difference there. I mean, I know there's a difference between uploading and downloading, but I mean, like when you're watching, say, internet TV, like something like Netflix. I don't know if it's a different, you know, speed or something versus streaming like this where I'm actually uploading to YouTube. Oh man. Okay, I think the consensus is that this game is not going to be easy. It's not the same as playing it on a Nintendo. Let's just see. I mean, I'm trying to watch it on my own browser, but I think there's a delay from what's actually happening live and what's actually happening on the browser. Either that or my internet's just really crap tonight. That's a bloody shame because we pay a lot for this internet. And I'd hate to say I'd have to go and pay for more. Or hire a package which is going to cost me even more money. gotten pretty far, I guess, when it comes to, like, not being used to the controls for this, but... yeah, it could just be that. I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to do it without, you know, completely moving my computer around. I don't know why they built this room without a cable connection. Like, they just assumed that you wouldn't put a TV here. And I'm using cable internet, so it runs off the cable wires, which means unless your room actually has a cable connector, which it doesn't, I'd have to pay quite a bit to have the cable company come in and run wires through my house. If it's even possible to even put them in here, I don't even know. Well, I remember when I first started streaming, I had a different wireless router, and my streams were even worse back then. And when I got rid of it, and I'm literally streaming off of using the router, the wireless that comes right from the modem itself. It's one of those 2-in-1 dealios, and my stream improved a lot. But now all of a sudden, like as of late, it just seems like it's not. I haven't been able to figure out what's going on. Because nothing really changed. That's why I'm thinking maybe it was my computer, it's not able to handle it.